How did the 18th century British tax collector shape Irish whiskey?
Did they?
They absolutely did. We'll have a chat about that while we have a wee dram of Teeling whiskey small batch.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, yeah, we've travelled the world, right?
We have.
I've been hanging off this one. Didn't want you to tell me what's going on with it, all right? So, yeah, so Teeling whiskey. So, well, I'll start with Teeling just on its own. It's one of the newer companies in Dublin. So, 2015, the first distillery to open in Dublin in the last 125 yees. So, sort of, the distillery itself was new.
Yeah.
The Teeling family distilling have been distilling since 1782.
Ooh.
So the name's around.
They're well practiced at it. Yeah.
This particular distillery is one of the new ones. So it's a revival piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, new whiskey. I feel like I would have heard about that. Yeah. New distillery. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, again, the Teeling name's a big one. And they've been around for a good long while, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Okay.
A bit of modern technology into that. So
I've had not this particular bottle, but I've had a dram or two of Teeling in my time.
Yes, okay. So this is the small batch, only about 50 to 100 barrels per whiskey. So they are numbered and whatnot. So they're
You know
all
which
the
batch
small
you got.
batches. Yeah. Rum-casks,
Okay.
which brings out a lot of sweetness and stuff. So going with an Irish whiskey, I think that's going to be a nice little drop, I reckon. So we'll get back to this tax thing, right?
Okay. Yes.
So
You go ahead and tell me how the Brits managed to shape the Irish distilling companies now, right? Come on.
In the 1700s, right, the British, being who they are, put a big tax on malted whiskies, right? Malted barley.
Okay.
So the Irish, in good old Irish fashion, gave them a big middle finger and stopped malting their barley. so we've spoken about this before with distilling Scotches and Irishes. They get their barley, soak it, it starts to sprout. That's what malt is, right? So then they brew that and distill it. So the Irish turned around and just went, you know what? If we don't soak our barley, if we don't malt it, it's not malt barley. It's not malt whiskey. So, which then it creates a different, much different flavour. Even just such a small little process, you wouldn't think would be that big of a deal.
Right.
But whereas Scotch is like very bold and in-your-face sort of flavours, without malting it, it's a very soft, biscuity kind of flavour. That's where Irish whiskies it's just become like a signature flavour for them.
Right.
So you'll find Irish whiskies very light, easy, smooth, which they also triple distill.
Yes,
which
that's
I've
right.
heard.
Yeah, extra distill.
Which adds to that smoothness too. So they've always been an easy drink.
Well, it's funny that you describe it as biscuit flavoured as well. For many, many years, we were known as the beer and biscuits economy.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of people describe like a shortbread sort of biscuit. You know, like
I like a shortbread.
I've got floaties in mine. Fantastic.
We can cut that out if you want. They did not come from the bottom. I got you back, Teeling. Right. Okay.
Oh, that's just pleasant.
Oh, yes,
that is.
Yeah.
That is a nice, comfy recliner chair. That is.
That smells of home. That does. All right. That's an Irish meadow after a soft
this
rain.
This is why I didn't bring it out till now.
I've been looking forward to this. Looking forward to Paddy's Day too.
Oh wow, that's. I don't use this word often, but delightful. It's very, as you said, you've got that real light base. But it is a mix of malt and unmalted, I will add. But it makes it a lot lighter. But that rum-cask, that brings so much sweetness into that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's like a powdered sugar sweetness.
That is very nice, very sweet.
Yeah.
Now you said that's a mixture of malt and unmalted.
Yes.
Right. But you said we Irish, we like to be different. And we like to push back against the Brits where we can. We went unmalted barley. So how have we got both in this now?
It's
Just over time we've gone.
Yeah, so it wasn't that they completely took all malt out of it,
Right.
but they just used a lot less.
Oh, okay.
So that because it was how much malt per for
whatever
all liquor or whiskey that they're drinking. So yeah, it just cut back on a lot of the taxes. It wasn't just a complete cut
right.
out.
Right, so they didn't dodge the tax entirely.
No.
Most of it.
Why not? No.
That's right.
You're jumping that fence.
Well, the Americans were all about no taxation without representation. We just went, no, we'll take a little less.
So, yeah, that's just creamy. That's smooth. That's, I almost say like some, I don't know, tropical kind of fruits, sugars. Yeah. Into honey. Very slight hint. It's under that powdered sugar.
I would say I could go with the honey. Yeah, I think that's
it's like a
fine
floral
there.
Almost like a heather honey sort of like, and there's that floral.
Like a very
behind
thin
it.
honey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's really pleasant.
Yes, yeah, I'm liking that. That's very nice.
And another thing, so this is 46%. Now we spoke about percentages before, and I learned something very interesting.
Ooh.
So we were saying that 40% stuff, right? Obviously, just that you can't be under that to be a whiskey, right? So obviously, if you want to pump out as much product as you can to make as much money, you're going to go for that 40.
Yeah.
If you're going as low as 40, right, if you were to have a glass of whiskey, put some ice in it, some water, get it cool or whatever, it goes very cloudy.
Yeah.
Right, so if it's under something like 46, they have to chill filter it.
The chill filter.
Yeah, so it gets it really cold, runs it through these real fine filters, but that takes any of the sort of fatty acids, proteins and esters out of the whiskey. So you're losing a lot of flavour in there.
Yeah.
But it just comes out as a nice, clear, repeatable product.
Yeah.
Anything over 46, I mean, it's not a hard set rule. It's just sort of where that line sits. So these guys opted to keep the flavour in this. So they went to 46 so they could sell it as a nice proper product. So if you were to put ice in this, it should not go that cloudy, if at all. So that's why they go to the 46. Now, we've been seeing a lot of this 46 popping up.
Yeah,
So it clicked now that that's the reason why.
Yeah, to keep those extra flavours in there, keep the extra proteins, the extra fatty acids.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, there still is fluctuations. The ones that aren't either 40 or 46 are, again, chasing a specific flavour.
Right, yeah.
But just that 46 number kept popping up. And I'm like, hey, what? Yeah. So that was a very interesting little...
Well, it's very good.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to tell in our lighting, but, you know, that's a nice clear, well, ambery type colour anyway, I mean, is a general rule.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't cooled it down. But
it still smells so sweet. So
yeah,
nice.
it is very sweet. So how would that compare to the Irish whiskies that you know?
Ooh, well, there you're asking me a question, all right, because it's been a while. I've been drinking Scotch for several months now. I don't know now. As I said, I've had Teeling before, obviously not this particular blend, because this came out in 2015. Well, they opened in 2015.
Yeah.
So I definitely haven't had this blend while I've been here in Australia. Jameson would have been quite standard, you know. Just as it's a very trade light. There. Yeah, it's very light one anyway. Yeah.
Again, that biscuity sort of flavour.
And then I don't know. I think they're all quite sweet. In general, I found Irish whiskies sweeter than Scotch as a rule, anyway.
Yeah.
And I always put it down to the extra distillation that they do.
A bit more distilling, yeah.
Yeah, but equally it's the different flavour profiles, like you said. It's the different malts from different areas, different, you know, even the water that they dilute it with.
Yeah.
You know, that's flavour to it as well.
Adds to it, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That is very nice.
Yeah, this was a pleasant surprise. This one, like, again with the Irish stuff that I've had, it's been a lot, lighter. Again, that biscuit, I never expected the sweetness this sweet to come out of something like this. As soon as I saw rum-cask, I thought, ooh, that always plays well, I think. So
it'll be interesting to see now if we do some more Irish whiskies in the coming weeks. It'd be interesting to see if any more of them do rum casks as well. Yeah. That's not something I would do.
Well, that's an unusual one. That is an unusual one. I think these guys really, jumped on something niche and new. Yeah. And, that's what they come up with, which...
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely well done.
Yeah.
So, comments, are you Team Irish or are you Team Scotch? We want to know.
Always Irish. But yeah. That's very
No,
nice. That's
so,
a good choice. I would like to rate that one. I'm going to give that one a 4.
Yeah.
Solid 4.
Yeah, same here, I think.
Yeah.
Just on the just above $80, I think, for the small batch. They do a couple other blends.
Yeah.
That go up from that, but this is apparently their best seller, and I can see why. Yeah, because that is
very
incredibly
nice.
pleasant,
Yeah.
and I really believe that would be one. Try it on ice, but also a good one for cocktails if that's your thing. I reckon that would sit well in even just something like just some soda water or something like that would sit pleasant in that.
Not that we generally endorse mixing our biscuits.
No,
Yeah.
to each their own.
To each their own, though. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, I think that's a fine choice for tonight, Sad. You've done a good job there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, if you enjoy some real and raw and unscripted whiskey reviews, come and see us at Night on the Scotch.
Yes.
And check
And
us out.
we're on YouTube and we live on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday. So, thank you very
Excellent.
much. Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.